Hey guys, so I don't know why, but I felt like led to kind of share this video. So I've been watching a lot of like preachers preach, and not like just like on like but like a church platform, but like on the streets. And so I wanted to share because I'm like God has made me like a huge political and not biological, but like political and biology and science like nut that I love to read and I love to know things. But it's kind of interesting. So I but I've kind of like analyzed people's reactions when people preach like on the streets and stuff. And and I'm talking about not the ones who are like high five, like yes brother or like yes sister. I'm talking basically about how like some people are very, very upset. Let's just say that. They're very upset because, well, it's not them. It's the demons within them. You know what I mean? Because we fight against not, flesh, but like principalities. And so, yeah. So we're going to get into all of it. Okay. So let's talk about first the people who are like very, very like angry and just like cause chaos. And it's just like whether they're just like yelling, walking around, basically just trying to like cut you off, saying nonsense. Like, first of all, that's saying something if they're saying nonsense, because they have no idea what they're doing. And most of the time it's them just like thinking that they're like, it's like a mixture of things. Well, obviously it's the demonic spirit wanting to shut up the person who is talking about Christ, and then they'll just start saying stuff. And it is a huge psychological just thing to know that when a person, let's say you're arguing about a topic and then they start attacking your character, you know that first of all, they don't have a defense to what you're saying, and that they feel vulnerable. They feel vulnerable because they cannot win the topic of the conversation. And so then they basically go to attacking your character. And, if we don't know witchcraft and we don't know, if God's word has power, then we know that words not of God also have power, but in the different influence of demonic power. And so when a person starts attacking your character, you know that they're actually intimidated by you, and they're throwing witchcraft, they're throwing spells at you to try to affect you. And it's it takes a lot of practice, but it does take a lot of practice to be able to initially, first of all, use your discernment to see why that person is acting a certain way. But also you can notice that when they start attacking you and they start to get like all jittery and they start to basically get uncomfortable, because then in order to make themselves feel better, because they know that they can't intellectually match you or beat you, they will end up trying to deter your character to make you feel less than them. And so that's one thing to be very cautious about. And also, so one thing to like kind of add to that is that, let's say I'm talking about abortions and I'm just preaching about abortions, or I'm talking to a specific person about abortion and they do not agree with me and they don't think that God says it's bad, and they just want to do all for it. They just want to do the free will and they want to be able to have them. And then so they just end up getting to the point where they start attacking my character. They start saying that I'm a liar, that I am this and that, and that I don't know what, but they start attacking me. Just ask them and just look at it. It's like, just look at them in a way where it's like you see their demon. And that is really either going to enrage them. But the thing is that if you know your stance and your authority, it's kind of funny because you're looking at them and you can see straight through them. It's just like you met your eyes with the demonic spirit within them, and then you can just ask them, why did you say that? Like, are you okay? Or just like kind of matching the fact that they are being out of pocket, and make it known that you know that whatever they're saying is a lie and that you're not tolerating it. So it's like standing on business, standing on God, and then like eyeballing the enemy. And I've done that before, and it's really funny. Or like even people who are just like causing chaos or like telling you to leave or whatever. It's kind of just like, okay, I have as much free will as you have as much free will. Why are you here listening to me and telling me to leave? Because if I have as much free will, and if you're so for, rights of abortion, and you're so for rights of, I don't know what else, just doing simple things, right? And then, or outside of marriage stuff, I don't know. And it's kind of like, if you're telling me to leave, but you're also all for these free will agendas, then I also have free will under your circumstance, under your mentality, to do as I please. And I am pleased with talking about the things that I want to talk about. And also, I have the Constitution of free speech, which is actually the First Amendment. So you are not only interfering with my freedom of religion, you're actually interfering with my freedom of speech, and you're contradicting yourself by telling me not to use my free will so that I can benefit you. And I think that we can see what I'm getting at here is that there's a problem with free will, because your free will and my free will are not the same, because it's based on what? It's based on morality. So if you want to have conflict, you're going to get conflict, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Because the thing is that technically in this world, we're never going to reach a resolution because we can't get to the same morality. And I'm not going to be using my free will and my morality to match yours. But if you would like to, then you can go and get the cops. Don't do that. I'm sorry. Do not get the cops involved. Let's just get that straight. But if they do interfere with your free will, then you technically can. But also use God's discernment, because not everything needs to have legal interference with it. Because also the enemy, as much as, we can, as God uses the criminal justice system, the enemy also uses the criminal justice system. So be very, very careful. And if you can, avoid any type of conflict, because it's really not needed. This is another point. I'll get to it. Okay, so the other point, dang it, now I just forgot it. Hold on. Okay, yes, this is like a 2-point, because one, it is very important for like a speaker to, as much as, what they're saying may be a total bunch of lies and not facts, it is very important for you to let them speak. And, again, this is where it comes with a 2-part, because obviously you kind of have to pick your battles, and it is really illogical for to have a one-to-one conversation with somebody who is really doesn't care about your point, and they are kind of speaking so that they can get their point across, because basically it's like the demon inside of them basically wanting to use your like platform or your microphone to basically get their point across, but they could care less about actually comprehending what you're trying to say or trying to teach them. And so that's kind of where you have to pick your battles, because it can be actually a way for the enemy to steer your agenda of what you're going to be talking about and what you're preaching about, because you're going to be distracted by this nonsense of conversation. And so it's really where you have to use your discernment of, is this conversation even, like, should I even engage in it? Or should I even engage with debates? And debates are definitely something to have, and it is very, very important too. But, it's also the people who, I think I cut myself off. But it's very important for like you basically to have discernment in whom you're talking to, if they're actually trying to listen, or if they're actually trying to steal your platform to get their point across. And you can tell this kind of by like their demeanor and their agenda of like, are they actually paying attention to you, or are they trying to get others to listen to them and to get others to, you know, come with them to attack you? And so that's something that has to be taken into account. It takes a lot of different types of discernment and looking around to, looking around to what's happening around you. So you can make sure that, you're taking your time to, and obviously like everything that has to do with Christ is going to be tried to attack. It's going to try to cause chaos and stuff. But it's also really important for you to stand on your business and just be like, and, also use your confrontation with Christ of just like, what is making you like jump around, and what is making you act this way, like kind of like confronting them of their actions, because it's very, very often that people are not confronted of their actions, not confronted of, oh, why are they doing this? I'm sorry, my hand is so shaky. Of like, okay, so why did you say this to me? Or like, what would make you think that way? Or why do you act this way? Or it's kind of like, what was your intent when you said that to me? Of just like standing on business that that people, what is going on outside? Hold on. Anyway, sorry. It's kind of like, really looking at people and kind of just seeing the spirits within them. And, sometimes, like, and I've mentioned this in my past Instagram video, that sometimes we are called to just look Judases in the face and let them do what they do. But on some other times, we're called to be like, like, I see you, demon, and, like, what's your purpose here? Like, why are you here? And please leave, because, or, like, let me confront you and let me show you the demons within you, because, I mean, as a seer, it is very, very hard for me not to say anything, and God has trained my tongue just to be like, watch it and do as I tell you to do with things. But it is very hard to see like the manifesting demons around you and people, and just be quiet about it, because it's kind of like, and then with like God's heart, it's kind of just like you're watching people self-sabotage, or watching people just like completely surrender to the enemy. You're watching wolves in sheep's clothing, and it's kind of just like, it gets very overwhelming. But it's also a huge blessing, and I will never be more thankful to God that I can, see within the Spirit. But anyway, so these are just some tips and tricks, I guess, if you end up doing kind of like evangelistic work. But that's what I got today. So God bless you guys, and I don't know. See you next time.